Hello, everybody, and welcome to In Vivo Leadership Podcast. I am your host, Layli Sadagiani. I really want to be transparent. The past 2 weeks have been really, really difficult. Sometimes I wonder, oh God, I don't even know. Sometimes I wonder how we got here, as far as the world goes. And it's been tough to press record, and it's been tough to put a podcast, especially with bad leadership, when I feel like all I can see is bad leadership. So I feel like what I'm trying to do is more important than ever. I don't know if people listen to it. I don't know if it resonates or gets anywhere, but all I can hope for is at least I'm putting something positive out there. At least there's something positive. And that's what I aim to do with this podcast. We have in our episode continuation of the I don't mean to be a jerk, and it's really understanding hubris and the dangers of excessive pride. And I feel like this is the most appropriate topic to talk about. This is a podcast where we get real about leadership, about ego, and all the places things can go sideways if we're not paying attention. And right now in this moment, we are living in it. We are living in what a jerks plural, could do to people who are completely innocent. I want to get started and really jump into understanding hubris and the perils of excessive pride. And it sounds so dramatic, but it doesn't. Trust me, if you care about leading with integrity and staying connected to your people, this is an episode that's just relying on the fact that we need to completely think about how we're showing up. And most of hubristic characteristic traits are not caring and not worrying about anybody other than yourself. I want to start with the basics. That hubris is defined as someone who's dangerously overconfident and full of pride. And it's not just like I believe in myself. It's more of like I believe I'm invincible and no one else matters. And again, I feel like we're living in it. We're living in a world of bad leadership where our leaders of nations are mostly thinking like this. You're flying too close to the sun because the warnings didn't apply to you. So you think you're not going to burn. We see it in mythology, in business and politics, even in everyday office dynamic. And what makes hubris so dangerous is that it looks confident, right? In the future episodes, I will start to cover bad leadership and people who were considered bad leaders. And this isn't Layli saying, this is a bad leader, this is a bad leader. This is the world calling out these individuals as bad leaders. And what's amazing is some of these people were looked at as amazing, that they were going to come and change the world. But that's not the case that happened with a bunch of them. In fact, they ruined the world. It looks like it's confidence, but it's not. And it shows up when leaders start believing their own hype. They stop listening. They make the mistake of thinking applause is for them, that they only hear applause. We had a birthday parade this weekend, and I cannot imagine what a hubristic leader thinks of themselves during that parade. So the kicker to me is that this creeps in slowly. Most people don't wake up and say, I'm going to be an arrogant jerk. It builds over time. And with every win, with every promotion, with every moment when no one tells you no. And I want to jump into understanding the difference between hubris and authentic pride, because that's important. And people confuse it quite a bit. And I'm not talking about theoretical research. I could give 2 cents right now about theoretical research. I'm talking about you and me in real life situation. We confuse confidence with arrogance. So to me, hubristic pride is saying something like, I'm successful because I'm inherently better than others. Whereas authentic pride is really saying, I'm proud because I worked hard, I learned, and and I believe in my team, and I made it happen. You can guess which one makes people want to work with you and which one's the one that makes them want to quit immediately. There's a research, it's not specifically with leadership, but it's from Tracy and Robbins, and they expand in the dissertation that I wrote inspired by their work. And it shows it clearly that leaders with authentic pride uplift others, and hubristic leaders isolate themselves. And once you start crediting all success to yourself and no one in your team, luck, timing, or market conditions, then that's when the red flags really come through. So, what causes hubris? Right? You are probably wondering, why does hubris happen? What makes someone go into this road and get lost in it? Let me walk you through a few common triggers. When you have unchecked success, when everything you touch turns to gold, it's easy to believe you've got the touch. You're the one who is responsible for it. Some of the success is pure luck. Some of it is hard work. But I think we can all agree it's more than that. There are usually, you have teams, you have people who support you, you have good resource and information. It's not just you, right? Then we have lack of honest feedback. Yes men are super dangerous. If everyone around you agrees with everything you're saying, you're in trouble. We also have holding power too long. Owen and Davidson call this hubris syndrome. Now, over time, power can distort your self-perception. If you're with this power, you do feel invincible. A part of your brain just basically doesn't see the world the way you used to when you didn't have this much power. And lastly, belief in personal exceptionalism, that the rules don't apply to you. That's not leadership, that's narcissism in a suit. And hubris isn't born, it's built. It's one that's unchallenged, and it's a belief that really grows with time. So let's get practical. Some of the common signs of hubris, right? How do we see this? And I really want the listeners to do something, because I feel like sometimes we listen to this and people come to our minds, which is fine. What I want to do with you is to really have you reflect on yourself. We can think about people who haven't delivered authenticity day in and night. But what I care about is to be the change in the world. So when I am talking about common signs, I hope that you don't reflect outside of yourself and look for proof, and that you reflect within yourself. And I'm not saying we all have these traits. There are going to be characteristics and qualities and behaviors that we've exhibited every day where some of this could really creep in. So one of them is blaming others for failure. That you basically don't hold yourself accountable for anything that goes wrong. There's the other one where you take full credit for success. The third one is refusing feedback. I can tell you this is probably the toughest one to swallow for a lot of us. But it goes again with the self-awareness episode that I hope you have listened to, where If the feedback is credible, then fantastic. You can take it, you can run with it. But if it's not, you can always let it go. There's no need for you to hold on to something that's not right. But we want to bring feedback in. We also have micromanaging or hoarding control. So many leaders are afraid to delegate because how it's going to look. And then when they do delegate, they really are involved in projects that they shouldn't be. And they are deflecting that time that could have been used to develop a person to more of them controlling and dominating that project. The next one is dismissing warnings or dissent. People tell you what's coming or what you're doing, and you think that you're above all of that, and that doesn't apply to you. Breaking rules. I can't tell you from my research how many participants who are mid-level managers explained to me the unethical acts that went through in their office. And it usually starts small, something unethical that's super small, right? And then it just becomes bigger and bigger. Next, we have self-glorifying in speeches or emails, and acting like accountability is optional. To be honest, when I'm thinking of some of these, immediately there are examples of the things that I've done this week that come to mind. Part of me feels cringy to review them in my head. And then part of me is really proud that at least that part of my brain is still working, where I can identify how I didn't show up well through these hubristic characteristics in my work. Okay, let's talk about real life examples. Let's bring this to life with some real world examples. We have Theranos and Elizabeth Holmes. It's a great example of hubris masking innovation. For those who are not familiar with the story, Elizabeth Holmes started a company called Theranos and told everyone she had intervened a special machine that could test your blood using only a tiny drop. She said that it could find lots of diseases quickly and easily. People got really excited, gave her lots of money, but the machine didn't actually work the way she said it did. And after a while, people found out the truth, and she got in big trouble for lying. Now she has to face so much of what she's done consequently in prison because of what she did. It was wrong, and it could have hurt a lot of people. Now, what's amazing about this story is that some of Elizabeth Holmes' staff at Theranos started noticing that things weren't right. Scientists and lab workers saw that the blood testing machine didn't give accurate results, and sometimes they used regular machines from other companies instead of their own. And a few brave employees, there was a person called Erica Chung, another Tyler Schultz. They spoke up and told her and others in the company that this was dangerous and dishonest. So here's the feedback part, right? But instead of fixing the problems, Elizabeth and the people in charge ignored the warnings and even tried to scare or fire the people who spoke out. And some employees were so worried, they told the government and reporters what was really going on. And that's how the truth finally came out. So that's one example I can give you. Another one is Uber under Travis Kalanick. I hope I'm saying the name correctly. Under Travis, Uber grew incredibly fast and changed the way people got rides. We're talking about success now. Like, there's the success part where these leaders really lose the perception of reality. The company also developed a toxic work culture. Many of the employees were saying that HR ignored complaints about harassment and bad behavior, and Kalanick's leadership style also encouraged aggression and winning at all cost. There's the narcissism trait we've been talking about. And people who spoke up, they were often punished or pushed out. And unethical actions like spying on competitors or mistreating drivers were overlooked. And while the company became super successful, that harmful culture led to Kalanick's being forced to resign as a CEO. This is the part of bad leadership that I just find so fascinating. We give so much credit to these leaders because we think they are doing amazing. Like in this story with Uber, what's fascinating is that this person was thriving as a CEO. But what eventually led to the breakdown is the culture of aggression that was being practiced there. So even though we think these people are successful and we keep continuously supporting them and giving them credit for everything they do, unfortunately, during that time, that builds their credibility so much that they continuously do the bad thing over and over and over and over again. And what's saddening is that we sit back and enable it as it happens. It's not our fault as people. Because in this situation, when people would speak up, they were pushed or fired and God knows what else. If this part of the podcast is interesting to you, it's just a snippet of what I'll bring to you for future podcasts. I will cover bad leadership of one person thoroughly and really focus on why it worked the way it did. Why was it so successful? Because people still till this day, I still talk to individuals that say maybe bad leadership and being aggressive is the needed trait in a CEO. It's a needed trait in a leadership position. That's not true. This is not true. And the more we think about this and think that it is true, we will continuously bring leaders that will ruin our lives. These types of individuals are being enabled to do bad things. And yes, it's not just with us, it's also with the people who support them on a top leadership level. And this is why we need to take a pause. What if, I can't even imagine this, but what if each of these leaders had just paused and really asked, what am I missing? What are they telling me? Who do I need to hear from? And where might my pride be clouding my judgment? See, humility doesn't erase the ambition of a leader. It would have actually protected their ambition as a leader. Because those warnings would have been a way for them to accelerate in what they were doing. If Elizabeth Holmes listened to her people, give her the warning, can you imagine if that was taken and a machine was actually built that did exactly what she said it was going to do? We are all accountable for our behavior. 100%. Hubris isn't just for headline making, it's not for headline making CEOs. They are serving us stories and examples of what could be. And it happens to all of us, to managers, directors, project leads, to entrepreneurs, to educators, to everyday human beings. And it starts very little. I'm ignoring the advice because they don't get me. I will take the credit for what's happening here. And I don't feel like I'm accountable for what mistakes you're making as a team. I'm doing so much. There's no way this is my problem. This is no way my fault. If we could just ask regularly about where our ego is sneaking in, it would help us protect ourselves. And it's not about guilt. It's about staying grounded. Asking ourselves, am I harder on others than I am on myself? Do I really invite feedback and just tolerate it? Because I'll be honest with you, I think of one example this morning where I truly did not invite feedback. When is the last time I said I was wrong out loud? This is important for all of us. What is wrong with being wrong? You're a human being. I am wrong all the time. And I am so glad that I am wrong all the time, because it gives me the ability to correct myself so that I am bettering my intuition, I am becoming a better leader, and I am becoming better at what I do. All of this is preventable. There is a way to have a support system that is your check-in team. So building a team of people who will call you in and tell you what others are not telling you. One of the individuals that is in my circle is my sister. This girl is not afraid to put me in my spot and tell me when I am wrong, when I am right. And I do the same thing for her. Sometimes in moments when she's going strong and telling me how it's coming out, I am super uncomfortable. But at the end of it, I am very appreciative of what she says to me, because she sees the world differently than I do. And so some of the things that she sees are actually in my blind spots. So build that circle for yourself and celebrate shared wins. Who helped this success? Who helped make it possible? Even something as, personal. I got my doctorate in 2023. And it's really easy for me to sit here and tell you I did everything all on my own. I'll be honest with you. In the midst of my doctorate program, I got a divorce. And it was painful, really painful, because we were going to have children. And it was like this person sat down with me and said, I no longer want to be married. I no longer want to have children with you. I went through filing divorce, figuring out my life while being in this program. And I told myself, there's no way in hell I will delay anything. So it's easy for me to sit here and tell you I did that all on my own, because what was also happening behind the scenes was my family was right behind me, being super supportive, being wonderful, helping me, walking me through, letting me vent. There was so many stupid stuff that I said during that time to my family, because I was just going through the grief process of a life ending for me. It's like, I'm sure some of you have experienced divorce, unfortunately, but it's like you are grieving the death of someone. That's what it feels like when that person leaves. It's like they've disappeared. And it's not that you miss the idea of that person. It's just that you're basically grieving the life that you didn't have, that you were going to have. And now it's not there. I spoke to a therapist. The therapist helped me a lot. I had great friends. My sister, the first week of filing my divorce, came and slept over and held my hand when I would wake up in the middle of the night and I couldn't breathe. So when I got the opportunity to make a speech about my experience in the doctorate program, I knew who was behind me and gave them all the credit in the world. Because without that support, there is no way in hell I would have done that doctorate dissertation on my own. No way in hell. So celebrate your wins with the people who were behind it. Practice daily reflection and daily gratitude. I feel like everybody's been saying this. Keeping a journal, sure. If some of you are not into journaling, grab a notepad every day, write 2-3 key points that has happened to you that day. You don't need to write full paragraphs. Just write one sentence on what did I learn today about myself. If it's so hard for you, grab your phone, go to your notes section. Every day, one sentence on what you learn about yourself. Gratefulness is huge. It keeps you humble. Think about all the things that you're grateful for. And one of the things that I will push in here is there was a period of my life where I felt like I knew what things I should be grateful for, so I would write those down, but it just didn't feel like that was what I was grateful for in that moment. So what I started to do is I said, I'm only going to write the things that I completely feel like I'm grateful for. So one day I remember writing my finger because I was so grateful for my finger. And then one other day, I think I wrote something like walking. I was super grateful for walking. I don't know. But it really helps. And it's not a matter of, if you don't want to write it down, just have that moment with yourself for a minute and say, like, what am I grateful for today? Today, for me, I am super grateful that I have the money to spend on Legos. Like, Legos are one of my favorite things to have at home. So I have Friends Lego, I have Star Wars Legos, and it's just so cool to see it. And so I would say I'm really grateful for that today. Another way to prevent it is to continuously learn, read, listen, stay a student. Never in your life tell yourself you're a master of anything, even if you're a master of it. To me, leadership, sure, I have my doctorate in it, but it doesn't matter to me. I will continuously see myself as a student, because the moment I think I've arrived somewhere, I really haven't. There's so much to uncover in our world that you'll always be a student. So never think of yourself as a master. Always remember that you're a student and you're eager to learn. And the last way to prevent it is modeling vulnerability. Say, I don't know. Say, you were right. Say, I need help. These are not weaknesses. That's what's really real about this. We have to protect our humility at all cost. And when we don't know something and we show up like we know it, what we're actually doing is, if we say that thing we don't know we know, and it turns out in front of other people we don't really know it, and people can call us out on it, we've lost credibility. All in that to say, leadership is a privilege. It's not a pass. And pride, well, it can either be the wind beneath your wings or the weight that brings you crashing down. You get to be the person who chooses that. This is the episode that I had for you today. I hope it resonates. Share it with someone you admire. I know we're going through such a hard time right now. It's really hard to swallow what's happening every day in the world. I feel anxiety every morning I wake up now. And I really wish and hope and pray for all of us during this time. So if this resonates, please share it with someone who might be teetering on that edge of hubris without even realizing it, or wants to be better because of the terrible leadership that we're seeing out there. And as always, I am your leadership addict. Let's keep learning, keep checking ourselves, and we don't have to be perfect. We just need to be aware. I'll catch you next week. And hey, don't be a jerk in this world. We have enough of those. Thank you so much.